we're back this week, of course. We're here to talk about the new Fallout show. If you don't know anything, Amazon recently released the Fallout TV show. It released on April 12th. It has sparked an interesting discussion in the community about video game adaptations, and it has caused an interesting stir in the Fallout community as a whole. So we're here to talk about it, cover the show, cover the response to it, and how the games have kind of responded as well. I'm your host, Isaiah.
I'm Dragon Master Jake.
And this is Locked Loot. So April 12th, the Fallout show released. Came out by Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime brought it out on April 12th. It was I would call it a mostly faithful adaptation to Fallout, to the Fallout video games. It was really well done. There's an amazing budget behind it, good acting, fantastic story. But this has sparked the discussion about video game adaptations done right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's been several games. I mean, you look at... they've tried to make several games into TV shows and movies, and a lot of them don't do well.
We're looking at you, Halo.
That one was pretty bad.
What really came out about this is that they are staying faithful to the source material, very much so. They created rules that they followed. They went to the game makers, Todd Howard, and said, hey, is there anything you didn't want us to touch? Is there anything you don't want us to cover? Is there anything you don't want us to do while we're making this show?
Which was a great way of setting things up to help with keeping it in canon, as well as just making it a good movie in general, because they knew where they could go and what could help with pretty much advertise the next game.
So the rules that they followed and were told to follow by Todd Howard were, one, you cannot discuss the Vault Zero San Francisco. And that makes sense. It might be a storyline that's coming in Fallout 4.
Or Fallout 5.
I think there was discussion about not touching Philadelphia either. They also said you cannot decanonize any canon ending.
Yeah.
And they respected that. They very much respected that. So when you're getting into the, hey, don't do this, don't do that, and you're going to the game makers and saying, okay, we respect that, we respect the source material, and they made a faithful adaptation. More than that, Fallout feels like the Fallout games.
I mean, I love how somebody else put it, was the TV show feels like you're going over and watching your friend play Fallout.
Yep. It feels like you're watching somebody play the game. They kept a good storyline going. They've got good acting. The characters are well designed. There was some discussion about the power armor. Specifically, one scene, I think it's in the trailer that we're showing here. There's a scene where he is kind of flying in a suit of power armmer.
And he's got thrusters.
And he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. And the community, when they saw the trailer, were like, we're going to hate this because we're not sure this is going to be good because he doesn't even look like he knows how to use power armor. And then the show came out and was like, you're right. He doesn't know how to use power armor.
It was a really good way of showing that, hey, it just similar to the games, it's some guy jumped in a suit of power armor and figured it out.
It is, like I said, it's really well done. If you haven't watched the Fallout show and haven't really went into it, it's worth it. It's a good introduction to the Fallout series. There's some parts that everyone's that confused everybody. There's the Fall of Shady Sands, which is it was in one of the trailers. It had the discussion. It does really well with cleaning up its storylines, respecting the source material, which is super important. And we're going to actually talk about why you respect that source material. And some of the other shows that have come out that haven't done it.
Halo.
And why this... We really just want to rant about Halo here, don't we?
Okay, I've watched the Halo show all the way through so far. it
My condolences.
it was a good show, as in, if you know nothing about Halo whatsoever, entertainment wise it was interesting. But as far as when you've played Halo and understand the story, it was horrible.
Exactly. So, and that's the source material thing. You know, everybody wants to do their own spin, and it's like you can do a story in the world. We're actually going to close the trailer here because we don't need it at this point. And what I'm saying is, you can do a story in the world, and I think Fallout and some other games prove this. You can do something in the world that is canon while still respecting the source material as it is.
Oh yeah, and they really showed just how well you can do it. It was a really amazing show. Not only that, but it got a lot of people when they were going through the while they were watching the show, it got them interested in the Fallout games. I mean, there was a massive spike in player base across all Fallout games.
Yeah. They came out, Fallout 4 had like 300,000 concurrent players, I think, and then 5 million concurrent players across all Fallout games when this show came out.
It was just an amazing way that they brought the community back in, and they really, the company really did well on furthering it with them releasing the next gen update for Fallout 4. They really capitalized on the publicity from
Fallout, yeah. And they came out with that. We'll be talking about the new Fallout update a little bit later. But the fact that the show did so well, we're going back to what I was originally talking about here, in that you can do something based in the world, you can keep it canon without I wouldn't say desecrating, but contradicting the canon. So if when, like I said, they went to the Todd Howard and said, okay, what don't you want us to touch? What don't you want us to do? And they said, okay, you cannot decanonize anything. They're like, cool. So we have free reign. Shady Sands, that was all them. There was the Pridwin, which fascinatingly, a little bit of a lore thing here. They even accidentally decanonized 2 Fallout 4 endings. And I know there's no canon ending for Fallout 4 yet.
Yeah, and they could have discussed it with the I can't remember his name.
Bethesda.
Yeah, they could have discussed it with Bethesda about just the fact that, hey, because Fallout 4 has 4 or 5 endings, and they could have just said, hey, which endings are we allowed to decanonize, because you're not going to go down that route.
So it could have been that they went to Bethesda and said, hey, we want this in there. What is the canon ending for Fallout 4? So that we know when we're building our show that we can do this. So because the show is canon.
And they didn't fully decanonize and specifically pick a specific ending for Fallout 4, because I think me and my brother had this discussion earlier today about it decanonized, I think, 2 endings.
Yeah, it decanonized. So the existence of the Pridwin, the ship has been confirmed by people who have gone frame by frame through the scenes with it, zooming in heavily and finding, hey, that's the Pridwin. It says Pridwin on it. That it immediately decanonizes the Institute ending and the Railroad ending for Fallout 4. Because in both those endings, you destroy the Brotherhood of Steel.
And like I said, they could have gone to him and said, hey, are you looking at keeping the Brotherhood of Steel for Fallout 5? And if Bethesda said yes, then okay. You know for a fact that the Pridwin was not destroyed.
Specifically, are you planning on keeping the East Coast chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah.
The capital chapter. Because you can keep the West Coast chapter. They're just slowly dying off. But yeah, when they went through and it's like, cool, that decanonizes 2. And of course the fan base was like, as soon as that thing showed up, they're like, is that the Pridwin? Is my ending no longer canon? And of course sometimes it wasn't. At some point it's like, oh yeah, sorry man. The Institute can't win the Commonwealth.
You need Nuka-Cola for that.
The Institute can't win the Commonwealth. Sorry, the Railroad doesn't win the Commonwealth. Either the Minutemen win or the Brotherhood win. So at least when you go to play your Fallout 4,
Hey,
you
we
know
talked
who to
about a
side with.
theory on the Raiders.
Personal canon. I would like to have. I would like to have the canon ending for Fallout 4 be that the Minutemen won, defeated the Institute, and then the sole survivor sided with the Raiders and invaded the Commonwealth. Personally, I would love that to be canon. I don't think it ever would be. It would create an interesting story with the sole survivor. But overall, like, and it hasn't just brought up like Fallout 4 coming back. They were smart and definitely capitalized on Fallout show's release by giving us Fallout 4, but they did not. They were not like they did not immediately go, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna release a new game or anything. It hasn't just brought up the discussion about Fallout 4 because the other Fallout games have been brought into discussion. People have gone back to play Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is widely regarded to be a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, and people have even gone to Fallout 76, which that one was a rough game when they released it. It was, but the fact that people have gone back to play it still shows just how much impact this show had.
Yeah, it shows how much impact this show had. It shows how much changes happened. Not to mention, there's the discussion about what kind of Fallout player are you? What kind of Fallout player are you? If you don't know what kind of Fallout player you are, well, we have a discussion to make because, in my opinion, they're out of the Fallout players are. You've got three types of Fallout players. You've got the New Vegas player. Where's my camera? You've got the New Vegas player. They only play New Vegas. They think New Vegas is the best one. They hate the inferiority of Fallout 4 and some of the other games. You have the Fallout player, which is the ones that play 76, 4, and 3. You know, the Bethesda Fallout player. And then you have the not tactical, but old school Fallout player. The ones that play Fallout 1 and 2. The ones that played the old school kind of tactical RPG kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen gameplay of Fallout 1 and 2.
Moreover, the Fallout games, this whole Fallout discussion has come up. Personally, I'm a Fallout 4 player. I love Fallout 4. I tried to play New Vegas. Going back to New Vegas in 2024 without mods and on like a console is impossible. Of course, Fallout 76. Almond's in chat here, and he just mentioned, you know, hey, it never fell off the shelves. His exact thing is Fallout 76 never fell out of the shelves. Nobody bought Fallout 76. I think it's on Game Pass.
Yeah,
and their expansions are on Game Pass. No one played 76 because 76 was a busted mess.
Yeah, I mean, it was legitimately to the point where at this point, unless you mod it, you can barely even open the game.
Well, you can't really mod 76 because it's an online-only game.
And that's just it.
At least with Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, you can mod the game to all hell. And
go full Skyrim, mod it till it breaks.
Yeah. Well, you actually want to play the game, so you mod it till it breaks, then you uninstall the last mod you had installed. Right. It works now. But that's the thing. You got to do that kind of thing to keep the game going. And they've definitely capitalized on this. We're going to actually talk about the new stuff that came to Fallout 4, because they didn't just give us the next gen update. They moved content similar to what they did for the Skyrim Anniversary Edition.
That's you, not
my
me.
bad. That's my phone buzzing. Sorry, my I don't know why my phone was buzzing. Where was I? Oh,
the new added stuff.
They didn't just kind of like what they did for the Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Bethesda added content from the Creation Club into the main game.
Yeah, and that's what they did here with the new Fallout 4 that they released for the next gen consoles. They brought it to 4K. They've added a performance mode. They've added a lot of side quests and stuff to the game.
They added an Enclave storyline. So they didn't just go like, you can now play it in 4K. It's next gen upgrade. No, they went, let's actually put some content in there.
Let's make it an upgrade.
For the players that are coming back, let's give them something new. Which is very important when you're trying to get people back into your games, because now they can go, well, as soon as the show released, I want to know their sales. I want to know their sales spike.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if when they release season 2, if shortly after they release Fallout 5. Mainly because, I mean, they would continue keeping that ball rolling.
That's true. They're keeping that ball rolling. Honestly, I firmly believe that Fallout has its own problems, especially with Fallout 4. They had a huge mistake when they were releasing this. So they did not, and we want to discuss some of the controversy that's going on right now in the Fallout community, other than the outright hostility towards new Fallout players. New Vegas players are pretty elitist about the whole thing. I've been seeing memes all over online right now about like Fallout New Vegas versus Fallout 4. And it's like, no. Fallout New Vegas players are very elitist. They very much think their game is the best one. Honestly, I do believe it has the best story of them all. But you really want to tell me that the gameplay of Fallout New Vegas is better than the gameplay of Fallout 4?
Probably not. I mean, like you're saying, the story is really, really good, but I mean, just how smooth the gameplay is in Fallout 4, it almost feels how my brother's always described it is Fallout 4 is Skyrim with guns.
Yeah, Fallout 4 Skyrim with guns. And that's a very like adaptable way to play. It means they were intending for a very intentional gameplay loop, which is the Skyrim gameplay loop of go into an area, eliminate the enemies, get the treasure. It's played less as a full-on RPG. Now, back to the little bit of the controversy, other than the Fallout New Vegas players being hostile towards everyone else. That's pretty normal. And the Fallout 1 and 2 players being back, they're going like, we exist.
We started this.
We played the first few games, and I'm like, I got nothing against them. They do well. I think the games are just before my time, and it's before a lot of our time. You know, I grew up on Skyrim. I grew up on Fallout. So, well, not Fallout. I didn't play Fallout until I was an adult, but I grew up on Skyrim. So I knew the game when I saw the Fallout gameplay. I'm like, it's Skyrim with guns. Well, let's get some guns.
And what's even better is the fact that now you can actually mod Skyrim to have guns.
Yeah. But that's the thing. The other bit is they did not warn their modding community about the next gen update.
So there's no mods.
The mod support is in the gutter right now because every mod broke when this updated. Do you know what's even worse? There was a massive project going on in Fallout 4 for a major mod called Fallout London.
Well, that's just it. As far as the modding community, yes, it throws a wrench in the plans, but the modding community always will come out with something eventually. I mean, it may take a little bit longer, but they will.
But let me talk about Fallout London real quick, because Fallout London was like essentially a complete area change. It moves Fallout into London. New textures, new everything. It's essentially a new game. New stories, new NPCs, everything. They essentially made a new game in the Fallout 4 engine. And then 3 days after it release, unceremoniously, they dropped the next gen upgrade.
Oh, so there's probably still going to be a lot of people that are going to play it on the old.
Yeah. Plus, they
system.
promised us the next gen upgrade like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, they promised it 2 or 3 years ago, but they also have in the show they did a really good job with the release of the next gen update. It's late, but their timing was really well done.
It was well done. It had its own issues. They could have given the community some warning. What was it that Bethesda did with the Skyrim Anniversary Edition? Because before they released the Anniversary Edition or one of the big updates, they went to the modding community and were like, "Hey, hey, by the way, this is coming out. Here's the changes that are being made." I don't know if they handed them like an advanced copy or something to let them get a head start, but they gave their community a head start on their modding, being like, yeah, we're about to change this. We know we're about to screw your entire mod, but don't worry, we'll give you a head start to get it fixed. Fallout just didn't have that. The fact that they just unceremoniously released it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they should have let the modding community know. But that also depends on whether or not they wanted people to continue to mod the game, because they're adding so much. They may have wanted that time for people to play all the new content before they start modding it.
And that could be. But I don't respect that as a decision because it's a Bethesda game. Bethesda games are held up by their modding community.
And their bugs.
And their bugs. The bugs are features. So we discussed it briefly before, but we're going to change topics real quick. And I want to get on to like how the Fallout show got it right and why other companies get it wrong. We want to get angry. We're going to talk about Halo.
Yeah. That, like I said, I don't know if you've watched season 2.
I haven't. No, I didn't even watch season 1. I heard the stuff about them, and I shied away from the Halo show. So Fallout show came out earlier this year. That was the season 2 of the Halo TV show. The Halo TV show. God, it is an example of why you should never let people that do not respect the source material get a hold of a property.
Oh yeah, I mean, Halo could have been done really well, and how they did it was horrible. They didn't really follow Halo's story whatsoever. I mean,
they did worse than that. They butchered the canon.
Oh yeah, and then they come out and go, "Oh, this isn't based in the video game universe. This is its own universe." And it's like, then what's the point in playing in
Watching
releasing the show? It's not canon. It's not worth it.
Your story is not better. If you're gonna completely rewrite the canon to something, you need to make it better. And I have an example of this. Let's talk Castlevania. Jake hasn't seen Castlevania.
I haven't.
Castlevania is an adaptation of the Castlevania games. It does not follow the Castlevania story. It follows its own complete story with Dracula and all of that. But it is done so well. The action scenes are on point. The characters are on point. The story is fun. It's good. I argue that the story is better than some of the Castlevania games. If you are going to rewrite canon and you are going to make it your own thing, your product has to be better than the original. And Halo did not do that.
No. Like you said, they butchered that story, and it was Halo had a really good story, especially when it came to the first Halo Ring Discovered. It was a phenomenal story on how they set it up.
Well, it's iconic. And like Reach, I know that they did the fall of Reach in Halo 4. I mean, in Halo Season 2, which means they are literally going into, they're not just going into like events before the games. I'd understand if they wanted to do the events before the games, the original Spartans design, and attacking, okay, this is what the Spartans were designed for, quelling human rebellion. Then the Covenant showed up. Maybe there's early days of the Covenant War. I can understand that. But when you do the fall of Reach, one of the most iconic moments in all of Halo, the fall of Reach, we have Noble Six. We have the Spartans doing the Spartan things.
Yeah.
We have the difference between Spartan 3s and Spartan 2s.
Yeah, you have all of Noble Team in general. They, as far as the TV show, they weren't there.
It's terrible. And that's the thing. This is like they stated they don't respect the source material.
Yeah, and it is so stupid that, I mean, how the story was written was phenomenal. Halo's story, especially when it came to the fall of Reach, and you had Noble Team, and you go through, it was amazing on how they did it. They didn't focus everything on a single person.
Well, and that's the thing. Reach was an entirely different game to the other ones. The other ones were actions. This one was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Halo Reach was a tragedy. And going back to like Halo and Fallout, kind of why we're bringing up Halo in this discussion is because the Halo team was a team that not only did not respect the source material, but actively hated the source material. They've stated they've never played the Halo games. They don't intend to play the Halo games. They don't care. They're like, yeah, no, we wanted to make our own sci-fi story. Then make your own sci-fi story. You don't need to slap Halo on it and call it Halo.
Right? It's almost like Assassin's Creed, where they just start slapping Assassin's Creed on whatever they come out with.
Yeah.
And it's like,
gaming's doing the same thing with like, as people have lost the originals, the new stuff, they're slapping the names on it and it doesn't work. Ubisoft is a great example. You brought up Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Valhalla should not have been an Assassin's Creed game.
I mean, there's a lot of games there's a lot of games that are doing that, where they come out with a game and they slap a famous
title on
it and say it's going to make us money, and it's like, at this point it's just a cash grab, and I'm not going to play it.
What you're doing is degrading the original. So like, back to Halo, back to Fallout. Fallout respects its source material. The people have outright said they played the Fallout games. They love the Fallout. I think it was the creators, like, I played all of the Fallout games. I grew up playing Fallout 3, and it's like, great, you love the games. That should be a prerequisite to making the Fallout show is, I like the games. I like the source material. It is worth it. There's this stigma in Hollywood that the source material for that video games are this lesser medium. It's like, no, they're telling better stories than you guys now.
Heck, you look at it, as far as TV and entertainment in general, video games are passing movies completely. I mean, you're seeing, like he was saying, better stories in the games. A lot less political stuff in the games. I mean, a lot of people have gotten tired of that with shows, but
yeah, but we're not here for the political discussion.
No, and that's where it's you're wanting to move toward. You're starting to go, well, let's start making games because these games are doing really well, and then you butcher their story and you go, well, the game did well. Why did our story not?
Yeah, you have a game like RDR2, like Alman brings up in chat. The most amazing story. You could, if somebody brought to you RDR2 as a film, or Red Dead Redemption as a whole would make a fantastic film. What I feel like is some of these games, the writers I bet they were in Hollywood. I need to do some research, and I would love to take a look and see, okay, how many of these writers before they went into video games worked in Hollywood and then were either driven out or left, realizing I can't tell the story I want to tell.
Yeah.
The people who made Halo, they wanted a sci-fi war series. Cool. Make your sci-fi war series. Don't call it Halo if you're going to butcher the source material. And I can understand if you make some continuity errors.
Yeah.
If you make continuity errors and the source material is like, you're like, okay, yeah, you can retcon that and say, I know we made a mistake, or, hey, this is a separate world. This is how the continuity works here, but we're still staying mostly faithful. Where I got lost in Halo was when that human was brought into the Covenant.
Yeah.
Never should have happened.
The prophets legitimately just, throughout the Halo story, the prophets sat there and condemned humanity as heretics and as
their mere
deceivers.
Existence was a threat to the Covenant. Their mere existence. So as soon as somebody was brought into the covenant, I'm like, you don't understand the covenant.
No, because the covenant would have executed that child before anything.
Yeah, and never saved them in the first place. The back to Fallout, but yeah, you make your show, and when you respect the source material, you can do your own thing. And it's like, no, you have this fantastic world. If you respect it and read into the lore, you're like, no, there's something deep here that we can play off of. In Fallout, they're like, cool, we have the Vault Dwellers. They're fantastic. They're your everyman. And they're you have these comedic moments where you're like, this person doesn't understand how this apocalyptic world works.
And not only that, but when you do it right like this, where like the Fallout TV show did, where you go through, you show them, hey, this is the vault, and I love how they added the pre-war.
They gave more context with the pre-war stuff.
Yeah, and it allowed people to start going. I mean, I didn't play a lot of Fallout. I didn't play it very much. I played a little bit of Fallout 4, but I'm like, I watched the show and I went, I want to know more about the vaults, because there was well over 100 vaults, all had different experiments. I wanted to look into the actual vaults and wanted to know, wait, what kind of experiments are there?
The show, a good show based on a video game, encourages people to take a look at the video game and say, okay.
And not just at the video game.
I can learn more. It says, do you want to know more? And it goes, yes.
Not just the video game, but the actual story. Because, I mean, as you play through the games, you can miss a lot of story material. I mean, they hide it in consoles and books and different things like that. And it's easy to miss some of the story material. And so for me, I didn't go through and try and play every game. Instead, I wanted to go, well, let me look into the story and what the actual story was, the people who've gone through, track down all the material. Yeah. So they could learn the entire story.
You can learn the entire story. When they talk about the fall of Shady Sands, everyone's like, everybody who didn't show the show is like Shady Sands. And everybody that knows is like the New California Republic. Yeah. Or, the New California Republic sucks. Or whatever side they're on. The show engaged viewers that did not know the Fallout games while still throwing a major bone to those that played the Fallout games. Because when you watch the Fallout show, you're like, okay, that's what a ghoul is? Well, first a little bit, you're like, what the heck's a ghoul? And then they explain it, and you're like, everyone's like, okay, what exactly are the ghouls and how are they made? Well, Fallout goes in depth into that. They didn't cover the super mutants. You saw the New California Republic, and, you get a chuckle out of normal people like New California Republic, and everyone's like, the New California Republic is huge. When the Ranger armor showed up, and we're like, are those Rangers? Yeah. Rangers lead the way. It was major. You need to... A show that's based on a video game should encourage people to say, the video game could be good. The story is engaging. The world is deep. These games have some of the most in-depth world building we have ever seen. And if you wanted to make shows based off of it, it would be super easy if you respected the source material, because you don't need to go outside the source material.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's similar to really well-done books. I mean, you look at like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has a massive universe. So do games. Pick up
a pocket of it. You're like, oh, we want to do a Elder Scrolls series. Cool. What's going on in Elsewhere? What's going on in Morrowind? What's going on here? Yeah. Any of these games, you can just say what's going on here, and immediately have a story going.
Yeah, and you can even take, okay, what's going on here? Let's go talk to the creators and see what they have to say, what they want us to avoid, what they want us to...
Maybe the creators literally hand you your story on the plate, and it's like, oh, there's a war going on? Oh, there's political strife? Oh, we can Game of Thrones this.
Yeah, the thing is video games have a massive universe similar to large book series.
And they have the story. So video games no longer are, you're going to rescue the princess.
Well, maybe Zelda is still that.
But even Zelda's more in depth.
Oh yeah.
Even Zelda is like this is an ancient curse falling down from the royal family. And it's like, okay, that is interesting. Everything is so in depth in gaming now. It's like the stories and the world building is all there. The hardest part, I feel like the hardest part of the story making process is the world building, making sure your world makes sense and that it's engaging for your readers, for your watchers, for your players, and it's all engaging. And it's like, cool. How do we do that? Well, for the TV shows, they're like, you have this pre-built world, you have this here. If you respect the story or bring in somebody who can make decisions, who respects the story, you have a world, and that hard part over. You just need to place something in it. And as long as you don't contradict it, you're phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I still heck, look at the Mario movie.
Yeah, somehow they came up with a Mario movie that killed it.
Right? Legitimately. If you play any Mario game, it is legitimately, we're going to save the princess.
To be fair, I think there is some more in-depth storytelling in Mario that they don't cover. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to talk about it.
As far as I know, there's a lot of background material that you don't really see in a lot of the games, but there is a story behind it. But still, Mario.
I know, Mario. The Legend of Zelda is getting a movie.
And that one, it seems like it would be really interesting, and I really hope it gets done correctly.
I hope it gets done correctly. I'm a little off put because they are doing it. They are doing it live action.
Like I said, I hope they do it correctly.
Let's talk about the Fallout stuff and why. Like, okay, versus that. The Fallout stuff looks goofy. Jack Black is Zelda. I'm down. Jack Black is Zelda. Thank you, Roman. But as far as Zelda goes, it can work. Fallout, like you talk about the goofiness of Link's outfit. You talk about any of the goofiness or anything like that. It's like, cool.
His pointy ears.
Well, that's just Hylians, and they're kind of they're practically elves.
Right.
I'm like, cool. You can make it look less goofy. Like let's talk like the vault suit. The vault suit from the show, it does not look goofy. It's out of place, but it's not goofy. It's like, okay, what can you do with Link's clothes? Well, one, it's an adventuring gear, so we base the tunic off of the Twilight Princess armor. I'm actually pulling that up
because he really likes the Twilight Princess armor.
Well, the Twilight Princess armor is practical, more practical than other armor, because it actually, what it is it's you have chain underneath, a jerkin over it. You've got some pants, some decent adventuring gear. The cap still is kind of goofy, but it's like it's out of place. You could lose the cap and you wouldn't lose the rest of the armor.
But I mean, it's also similar to the Champion's leathers from Tears of the Kingdom. You've got the leather straps. They made it look more functional,
and that's all you got to do is make it functional. Aliens are elves without the buff. Sorry, Owen. I'm laughing about this. We're going off topic way too much. I actually think we should save this for our Zelda stream and our discussion.
Probably.
Because we're going to go way off topic. But those were our thoughts on the Fallout show. I mean, we're here. I
loved it. I can't wait for season 2 because season 2 is confirmed.
Season 2 is confirmed.
So I cannot wait for Fallout season 2.
It's going to be so much. They're doing it right is the thing. And that's what I want to get. That's what I've been getting at is there's a way to do these right. And I think the modern industry is changing in a way where they're realizing they can do it right. They'll make more money if they do it right. And they'll be able to make more if they do it right.
Yeah. Mainly because if you do it right, you're not alienating
the majority of the fan base that would bring new people in and be like, well, this is Fallout. Haven't you watched you can go watch the show. It's only 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's a great show. Go watch it, and
It
it
brings,
follows the story. And
Yeah.
um,
Your fan base for the games can bring people into the show.
Yeah.
And it's a self-fulfilling loop where your game players bring your new people into the show. The show, they watch the show. If they really like it and they've been on the fence about Fallout, then they go play the games and maybe tell somebody else to watch the show.
yeah, it does. They did a really good job on this show, honestly, and I can't. I want to continue. I've been looking at the vault. I love looking at the vault experiments. I love how Isaiah said that the vault suits seem practical. I mean, honestly, they look a little weird because you got blue and yellow.
The coloring's weird. The material looks fine. There's that little thing there. I assume it's a type of Geiger counter. It looks like it serves a purpose.
They do look, compared to like the Raiders and the different groups, they look weird.
They're out of place, but they also adapt to the area. So by the end of the show, you have the Vault Dweller who was in this vault suit before. Leather straps, pouches, guns. You're like,
turned it into set it up for an adventure to explore.
Yeah. It's less, we're living in this stuff. More, okay, now we need it to be more functional for a different environment.
Oh, yeah.
That's everything that we have to talk about this. So we're going to be logging off. Of course, we're going to be playing Zelda in about 20 minutes. We always start our a live Zelda stream on Saturdays at 11 a.m. MDT is our time zone.
Yes.
So join us as we continue our Tears of the Kingdom, and we'll get that all set up, and we'll be back here. Of course, if you want more, bring your friends. They can always watch the streams. Having friends in these streams is fantastic. We'll catch you in about 20 minutes, Alman. We're going to start the story, actually. We're going to be doing Tulin's questline.
Oh, cool. And also, not only that, but we can also continue our Zelda talk that we were going off topic later.
Zelda will fit more in Zelda than it would if when talking about Fallout.
Mainly because we like rabbit holes.
Yep. So yeah, I'm your host, Isaiah.
I'm Dragon Master Jake.
We're logging out for now.